market is growing around 50% CAGR. Some of the key market is actually in agriculture, which is a new vertical for us. We have not been focusing on agri, but the main thing that we do is actually infrastructure, which is the second one that you can see on the list. We have been focusing on infrastructure. And the main market, of course, is actually the biggest one is actually EU, Europe. I mean, this is from the Insight Partners report. We actually questioned that. We are seeing the fastest growing region is actually our region, Asia Pacific. And of course, America has traditionally been the main market as well. A quick look of at our campus. It's an amazing place, 50,000 square feet. The facility can fit 800 employees if we plan it well enough. Right now we have just a little under 300 at HQ. This is also our MRO center where we do all our maintenance of the facilities or all drones that are in operation. Right, yeah, just go to the next one, and let's go into our journey. Now, what I'm going to be sharing is our experience from the beginning of the company, right? And I think, as you all know, running and the entrepreneurial journey has not been easy. Actually, it's a very tough journey, full of challenges along the way, and I think that's actually what separates the one that keep going and the one that give up. You know, if you don't have clarity of vision, or we don't have passion, I mean, if you're not crazy enough to keep pushing, I think a lot of people would have given up. I mean, even if I were to look at our history itself, it's been littered with challenges along the way. And I think, and I will talk more about this as well. I feel that I'm rather blessed by having a strong team. In fact, a large part of my effort is actually in building the team as well. And then that's what I'm going to be talking about. Let's take a look at the journey itself. So yeah, we started in November 2014. And when we started, all that we did at that time was really just doing visual, you know, using drone, just like what most people today do, or just like what most drone companies actually do. It's all just about using drone for visual activities. So anyway, I'm gonna be talking about how we have grown over the time and what are the challenges that we have faced along the way and how we actually overcome them, right? So right, I mean, let's take a look at from 2015 and 2017, right? So 2015 was the first period, or rather the first middle of 2015 was a major milestone for us. When we started, the first year was really building the tech, understanding the market and all that. So 2015, June to be exact, middle of the year, was the first major project for us. And immediately we hit roadblock. Immediately we understood that, hey, you know, the market is a lot more sophisticated than what we thought. Immediately, if you see all those bold items that I put up there, those are things that we did not have. And if you look at all the, you see the explosion, 1, 2, 3, 4, those were, you know, implosion points that could have, you know, we could have folded if we did not, if we were not able to solve those problems. But we keep going on, we keep going, right? The first problem was we needed data platform, and the team that I had was not even able to deliver. I actually went down and do the actual coding myself, right? You know, and then by April 2016 was our first major contract, more than $8 million contract, a single contract. So that was the largest one. And again, immediately we found ourselves lacking in having professional technical team. So again, immediately we scrambled to hire our pioneering team, our Pioneer 2 team. The first one was our original pioneers. There was 8 of us at that time. To be honest, the pioneers were really people that I can afford. At that time, we were like we hire only fresh graduates. All the major work was done by the 3 of us at that time, you know. And then by the time we won all these significant contracts, then we start to hire better people as well into the team. So we went out from 8 to 36 in the first 2 years, basically. And some of the challenge here is that we needed deeper skills and we needed to put systems and structure in place for us to operate large-scale operations. So that was something that we did not have experience on as well. And it was a very stressful period. We could have given up along the way. You know, the number two professional and technical team, you know, we went into a meeting. I do not have enough people to actually even deliver what we have already committed to the customer. So it was a very stressful moment as well for us. So yeah, so subsequent to that, we went into our growth period by July 2017. Or rather, you know, by April 2017, we started our first international expansion. The first country was actually Australia. So we went to Australia and we were quite surprised that the feedback was actually very, very good. You know, we did not expect much at that time. We went to Australia. We started to talk about our solutions to test out whether there is a market fit to our solution, and the response was amazing. So fueled by the initial success in Australia, we went to then we went to Singapore, then we went to Dubai, and immediately as well, if you see the number 5 there, we face another issues, you know, of delivering to international standards and international expectations. But of course, we solved this problem again. So we went through a growth phase, and the number quickly grew from 36 to 120. And by the middle of 2018, we were already in 8 countries with about 120 staff at that time. And January 18, we completed our first fundraise, our Series A. Axiata was our Axiata Digital Innovation Fund, or ADIF. It was our first M&A in March. And the same year also, we were quite surprised. We were not in the list of the global ranking, and we saw ourselves ranked 7 by, I think it was September 2018. Then immediately we faced another problem. We needed to scale very, very fast. So a different set of challenge again, you know, and then we went through, I mean, I will go into more details how we solve all of these problems, and feel free if you guys have any specific areas that you want me to talk about. But the biggest challenge at this time was how can we scale fast enough to serve at that time the new 8 countries that we have. And when we started to work in Australia, when we started to do some work in Japan, the expectations and the requirement compared to what we were doing in Malaysia actually went exponentially. So it immediately put the team under tremendous stress yet again. Then by 2019, we went into our scale-up phase. We started our fundraising as well at that time. Immediately, we focused on delivering SaaS solution by February 19. We developed our SaaS solution, and we started our, already we did another fundraising as well, a pre-B in January 19. And by middle of the year, we went up to 3rd ranked. And by August, September 2019, we did a structural revamp of the whole company. We were hitting roadblocks again about delivering. Now that the company slowly grew to about 25 people by end of 25 countries by end of 2019, we need to make major change into the company, and I will talk about what we did as well to solve this problem. And I'm happy to share that actually throughout the journey, we have been able to overcome all of these implosion points that you saw on the screen. Yeah. So yeah, so that's that. And now we are at scale up 2. The numbers has grown to about 412 now. And in late 19, we closed the M&A in America. And early this year, or rather March this year, with Middle East as well. And COVID was another exciting time as well. A totally different challenge. It is affecting everyone in the industry. And then suddenly we found ourselves, you know, we were gearing ourselves up. We have projects that ready to be rolled out. And to be honest with you, we were supposed to start major ramp up in March. And that's actually when COVID suddenly happened as well. So we had about 40 million worth of projects that needs to be deployed in Indonesia, in various countries around the world, and those were put on hold. And suddenly we are left with about 50 odd people with nothing to do. And we decided that, hey, we do not really want to let these people off. We knew that this is just a short-term solution, or rather a short-term challenge. So we kept all of them. We did not retrench anyone. We know that it's just a matter of time, but that time keeps stretching again. From one became two, became three, and even now also it only just started to ramp up again. So what we did was we offered our services to the government. It's the I would say the largest CSR work that we have ever done. So we told all, or rather we offered the services of all 50 teams, 50 people that we have available to the Malaysian police, 24 teams, and we assist them to do the monitoring of the MCO at that time. And we were very happy to found that we were able to reduce the non-compliance from above 15% to finally below 5%. Of course, together with the together with PDRM. And out of the 90 drones that were used during the first MCO, 60 plus of them were actually from Aerodyne. So yeah. So then I think we're just very excited. A lot of things are now happening around the world. All that we need now is to wait for it for the border to open, and so that we can start cracking on our project. So maybe at this stage, maybe I should pause a little while, and if there's any questions on this part before I go to the next slide.
Maybe I can kick off with a question. Yeah. So, I mean, with all the activity, building the product, building the team, scaling up, hiring, all the disruptions, you were still able to enter into numerous, JVs, partnerships, and M&A activity, execute upon them, and then, grow those as well. So, how could you do that? I mean, like, now, how were you able to handle this whole explosion?
Right. Well, we do have a dedicated team right from beginning. Of course, the first two acquisitions I conducted it myself together with the internal team. But since a year ago, we actually have a dedicated another dedicated team that focus just on the M&A, and we also have an external consultant that work very closely with us, that helped us close the past 3 M&A as well. So yeah, it is a difficult task, especially in recent time due to border closing. The last deal that we closed in March for the acquisition in Middle East, the due diligence was done virtually. So it's a very tough, it's a very strange environment. We are now actually conducting another online due diligence as well right now for another deal that we are closing hopefully by next week as well. So yeah, I think what helped was that when we close all of these M&A, the candidates are all people of the same industry as us, and we also know them pretty well over the years, right? Or at least some of them over the past, I would say over the past 2 years. And then we have been engaging one another, and there was clear synergy of what we wanted to do. So most of the time, it really was about the legal terms that is mutually beneficial for both parties in terms of the fit between between us and them is something that we sort of established early on.
Which is more difficult, closing the M&A or post M&A?
Oh, post M&A. Right. I would say it's equal actually. Closing the M&A is also a tough one. The guys that do the negotiation, it depends on the typically depends on the legal team of the target acquisition. Usually the partners they want this. This is something that we both wanted, right? But of course, everyone have consultants. We have consultants our side. They have consultants their side as well. Sometimes their consultant also need to justify their fees, right? So they make it very tough and difficult, right? So yeah, it's But at the end of the day, we knew, I mean, this is something that we both wanted. Going through the negotiation is a tough one as well. So we do go through a difficult time. And post-acquisition is also where we go in, we hand it over to a different team, for the reporting, for monitoring, and doing the integration with our technology, our solutions as well. Because all of these M&A is about us delivering our solutions and value adding to our partners. So most of them are already in the same space as us. So they are drone solutions provider as well. Very often than not, they lack the software solutions that we have. They needed the AI solutions that we have, and that's the synergy that both of us wanted. They give us market access. In some cases, they give us ready customer as well. We have a few of our M&As that come in with very, I would say, nice order book as well. And then, so when we go in, we would able to unlock not just additional market for them, additional solutions for them, but also allow them to be a lot more effective as well in delivering this. So then they can expand their breadth of solutions and services as well. So to directly answer your question, it depends. It varies. There are countries where it's tougher post. There are some that is pre. So yeah, it's country by country.
We have a few questions that came in, but I think for the flow, we'll continue with your slides and then we'll pick up on these questions.
All right, sure. Okay, so I'll just go to basically three things that became clear to us, and I think number one, and it's something that I would always share to my fellow entrepreneurs as well. What you have seen in the journey that you have shown here as well is that I'm pretty sure anybody that embark on any entrepreneurial journey is not going to be smooth sailing, right? If it is easy, everybody will be doing it. This is a tough thing, and it is only for those criminally insane, to be an entrepreneur, right? You have to keep going when you go against the tide, but you have to keep going, because those that basically are not able to proceed further, it's only because they give up when they hit a brick wall and they couldn't go past it. And we've gone through all those brick walls as well. The implosion points that I showed here as well. So it is, and the only thing that will allow us to go through all of these is you have passion and clear vision in your own mind, and also to your team as well, right? In my case, right, my Aerodyne is a combination of my three passions, right? Aerospace, IT, which is all the software side. I mean, I'm a self-confessed geek. I've been doing coding. I've been doing all kind of, even though my first training is actually in accounting, right? But that finance experience that I had for 4 years in London. I was in London for 10 years, but the last 4 years I was working in an audit firm. But that gives me the financial sense, the commercial sense to operate globally, right? So likewise, I mean, this is why this is working for me, because it's a combination of three things that I'm most passionate about, which is finance, IT, and drones. I've been in aviation. I've been flying. I also fly aircraft before, but my pilot license has already expired. But I used to fly aircraft as well in the past. So this is a clear passion that I have. Right? So when I'm working hard, I'm not working. I'm enjoying this. Okay? So likewise, when you want to find and build your team as well, you must be enjoying what you're doing, because otherwise, you won't be doing this. I mean, in the beginning, I would be in the office at 6:30 in the morning, and sometimes we did not go back until 10, 11, or stay overnight in the office, because there were just too many things to do, and there were just too many problems to solve. And building something new is actually a tough thing. If you want to make everyone happy, we sell ice cream, right? It's easy. Everyone can sell ice cream. But you want to change the world. You want to do something meaningful. It is tough. So if we have not, if it is easy, everyone will be doing this. So passion and clear vision is the only thing that help us through all these adversities along the way. Yeah. So let me, right. So for me, I think this passion must be very closely related to the ikigai. I don't go into this very detail, but I think everyone understand it. But I keep reminding everyone as well. And even when we hire people, I mean, we don't look at their technical skills so much. We look at how passionate are they into this. Whether this is something that they enjoy. I mean, if money is your passion, then you won't. I mean, money is nice, right? But it's not the end goal. Money is just the result of what you are. You must be passionate about what you're doing. And number two, and I think this is the main point that I wanted to stress, is building the right team. A large part of our effort over the past couple of years is actually to build the right team with the right culture. And once you have this, the company will build itself. So if I were to look back throughout my journey, in the beginning, I was the one basically on the driving seat, doing the delivery of projects. We were doing that, and because I had junior guys in the team as well, we trained them. Come a time, some of them can deliver, some of them can't. And at that time, I was like already wondering, how am I going to scale up? People is the most important thing. But as we were doing, then I begin to realize that it's not. Technology is important, but people is I would put people as a higher priority as well for us. So one analogy that we always talk, we are the Roman chariot during Roman time. Two horses in front, and they're sitting in the chariot, and you are the driver. So you can one of the horse is actually people, whereas the other horse is actually technology. So both has to be running at the same pace, at the same speed. And we can only go as fast as the slowest horse. So even if we have the fastest or rather the best technology, but if our people do not deliver it, so we can't win the race as well. So we place equal efforts or equal focus to both of them. And the first one is, of course, building the right team. And then in a lot of your questions earlier as well, how did we do it? In fact, to be honest with you, the main answer is people. So we spend a lot of effort building the right team. And being, I know a lot of people will not like this, being a Malaysian company where we use mostly Malaysian talent. And when you want to operate on a global scale, it proves to be quite a challenge for us. That's actually one of the biggest thing that we experienced. So in the beginning, what we did was we developed a core value within the company, so that diversity in the company is good, of course, but you need to have a common language where everyone is together. So we developed. We initially, I do not want to go into detail unless somebody asks about this question. But the core value that we developed is actually about solving the internals of our team. Not just the culture. The culture is something that we solve at later stage. At early stage, we even have issues with regards to integrity. We have issues with regards to delivery, for example, simple delivery as well. So we develop our core values, which is trust, problem solving. Let's not go into that. But anyway, it works for us. What I'm going to be talking about is that how we decided that the moment we decided that we were going global, what is it that we needed to do to make sure that our team are ready for this crazy dream that we have. Malaysian company, and we wanted to be a world-class organization. So we came up, this is something that we came up about almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So 14 things that we need to do to build a world-class culture in the company. So basically there are 4 things, of course, operational excellence is the basic stuff, and then we also look at what is the strategic fit. I tell you, why don't I just go into detail, right? So operational excellence is doing things right. This is the standard stuff, right? Our productivity, our delivery, we are meeting requirements, we deliver on time and all that. So initially, we put a lot of focus on doing things right. I would say by 2018, in terms of doing things right, we were like 90% and above. Whereas in the beginning there was a lot of problem, but by 2018, I would say, yeah, by 2018, I think our delivery has been really good. But that is not enough. There are other things that we needed to do as well to become world class. And we started to focus on the strategic fits, which is doing the right things. We must make sure that we have enough resources. We must make sure that we are doing we don't have time to be looking over the shoulders of our people, right? So we must have the right culture so that these people go out and do the job in line with the company's vision. And we actually spend quite a bit of effort putting this thing together. And I'm very happy that we are seeing the results over time. And then, of course, one thing that is the cornerstone of Aerodyne is actually our innovation. I mean, this is the culture that we have. Not only we innovate internally, we keep pushing outwards as well in terms of our solution. We reward our people, we encourage people to innovate, to come up with new ideas and all that. So that's actually, I would say, if there is any secret sauce, I would say on the continuous innovation strategy that we have in the company. We ourselves pivoted so many times in terms of our solutions. We go into new version the update of our software, every couple of months. So we spend a lot of focus there as well. We have our pulse in the industry. We look at what our competitors are doing. Software industry is actually a leapfrog industry, right? At one time you are in front and people will jump ahead of you, and you have to keep jumping, to stay ahead. The moment you stay, back, and that's the time when people will overtake you, right? So these are the 4 pillars that we do, and for us, the unique identity is something that we keep pushing as well within Aerodyne. If you look at all world-class companies, they all have their own unique identity. If you look at IKEA, I always use this example. It's cheap, it's high quality, you assemble yourself. Toyota cars, it's damn reliable. And Aerodyne is no fuss, no drama, just deliver. So people come to Aerodyne, they know that we are problem solver for them. So that's this is our strategy on how what we did over the past 3 years to build this world-class culture within the organization. Then,
so we have quite a few questions which are quite timely based on your presentation so far. Maybe we can start with the question from Afiq Amani. Afiq, if you would like to ask that question directly.
Sure.
Yes, yes, thank you. So I'm interested to know, you mentioned that you started to go for Australia to expand the company. So with all these challenges is still being sorted out, why do you start to think about maybe we should be expanding this globally?
Well, when I talk about the challenge, right? I mean, those challenges are probably 20% of our focus at any given time. So the other 80% is the successes that we experience at that time, right? So when we weigh in about the risk and the opportunity, we felt that, hey, this is, when you do any business as well, it's also about going in at the right time and the right place as well. So drone industry were growing rapidly at that time. At the back of our mind, we are always wary of the 20% challenge that we face, and we are constantly focusing on solving them. But the other 80% is the amazing traction that we get, is the amazing fit that we see, and the amazing opportunity that we can actually help disrupt the operations of our customers. So we were feeling very confident. The team was feeling very confident, but deep in my mind, I was also very worried as well about whether or not we can deliver. But I think that's the difference between being an auditor or a finance person, which is very risk averse. That's why I end up not staying there. I'm a risk taker. So I took the risk and in a way it paid off. Because to me, if I do not do that, then others will. So we decided that we want to pursue. And the challenge, or rather the encouragement, was because we were saying that we were ahead of the curve. Because there was no real competitors that were doing comprehensive solutions as per what we were doing at that time. And even now, we were doing something totally different to what we were doing 3 years ago.
On the same theme of expansion and scaling up, just want to go deeper into that. There's a question from Deep about scaling up playbook. Deep, if you would like to ask that.
Hi, Kamarul.
Hi.
In one of the sessions, I heard that you have very detailed playbooks for your scaling up. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. And what is the right time for us to start doing those kind of playbooks? Is it very early in the business, or once you reach certain stage? I think that guy also asked expanding into the other countries. There has to be some, when do you see that now you should do all those things?
Right. Well, I mean, first of all, the playbook is a live document. I mean, it's not something that we built and it's static and it's like your Bible that you follow, right? So I started drawing our playbook, I would say about 3 years ago, in end 2017. And the playbook came out of a need to communicate with the team. So I think if you're talking about when is the right time, it's actually when you have a growing team and you need to communicate with the team. We want to make sure that all the team are in congruence with what we wanted to do. So I mean, first it gives clarity to us as well. I mean, sitting down and drawing and throwing it away and redrawing again back to the drawing board, that actually gives us the clarity, or rather at least it gives me the clarity. And to be honest, I will probably have like 50, 60 revision over time as well, and then hold it, over time. So the right time, I would say, is when you have a sizable team that you need to communicate, right? And you start to face challenges or problems along the way. And that's actually what happened to us. As we started to grow, I mean, we did not have our playbook when we first went to Australia or when we went to Singapore or Middle East in the beginning. We started to put the playbook together the moment that we started to have multiple projects going at the same time. We were in Japan, we were in UK. Then we realized, hey, even when we talk to all of these people, we sometimes things are not aligned. So we need to have a clear strategy for everyone. We need to have a playbook that we all can refer to. And again, as I mentioned earlier, this playbook is actually a guide. What we had 2 years ago and the playbook that we had that we are still using today is probably about 20% different as well. So we refine it along the way as well.
Last question before we carry on. Question from Leroy Shah about managing resources. Leroy?
Yes, hi Kamarul. So I want to know, like, how did you manage the resources to cater such a big projects before Series A for, I think it was the second explosion, or it could be the first, the more than 8 million project. So at the start of the company. So I want to know, how did you manage that?
Right. Okay. Sure. I mean, this is my fourth startup. So when I start up this company, actually Aerodyne started off with 1 million initial capital, and when we were profitable from day one. So there's some positive things out of that, and there's some negative things as well. So I will share with you guys later as well. The positive things was it allowed us to grow organically. So for every project that we did in the beginning, the margin was very nice actually. I mean, the net profit was actually in the region of 50% in the beginning. So they allow us to have the cash reserve that allow us to grow. But of course, those numbers started to dwindle over time as well. So yeah, so that's how we were able to do that, and we were able to grow organically until end of 2017. And that was only because we started to go outside of Malaysia. If we were satisfied with just focusing ourselves in country, we would have gone ahead without any fundraising. And in fact, the funny thing about our first fundraising was we were approached by the investors rather than us going out looking for funding. Actually, they came to us and we said no initially. Then by January, and we had an opportunity to do our first M&A. And I said, hey, Mr. Investors, I think I need your fund now. I need your money now to fund my first M&A. Right? So from there, it gotten us very excited as well. So just seeing positive results, and from there we just keep going, with fundraising. And we're going to be starting our next fundraising as well very soon as well. So we're just going to be perpetually fundraising from this point onward as well. Because I think we are also changing our strategy as well. Because when in the beginning, and this is not something a tech company should be doing. So in the beginning, I was always looking at the bottom line. I was looking to make sure that we are profitable. I was looking to make sure that I have enough cash because I do not have any support. What I had was the initial 1 million paid up capital. So every project, we were looking at the bottom line to make sure that the reserves are there and all that. But now we are focusing more on growth. I think bottom line or profit would now become secondary. When the world is your target, then you shouldn't be looking at the bottom line at this stage. And that's something that I would advise most tech entrepreneur as well. When you are profitable, then investors will start looking at your PE. Right? When you are not, then they look at your forward-looking. They look at your projections. If I were to compare my competitors in Japan or in America, for example, right? They are not profitable. They are much smaller than Aerodyne, right? But they are getting significantly higher valuation than we do. Why? Because they are not profitable. At the moment you are profitable, then investors will start looking at your PE. Yeah. So that's actually something that that I discovered along the way as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Kamarul. Please carry on.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so these are the things that we did to build the team, the culture. Right. So this is the team that I have. I will not go to do. In fact, the only reason why we are able to do what we are doing right now is because of these guys, because of the team that I have. Right. So you build a strong team, then the team will build the business. Right. Right. I don't know whether you can see this. Right. So those are our heroes, our employee, our team, our Aero Rangers. Okay, and number three, my last point is actually we also have to be very clear on the why. I talk quite a bit about this as well, because the why is why the team support us. You need a team that believes in our vision, right? And it's also the reason why our customer chooses us as well. So we spend quite a bit of time, quite a bit of effort to communicate, to talk about this as well to everyone in the organization. So what we do is actually a DT3 company. We are the first DT is drone tech, the second DT is digital data technology, and the third one is digital transformation. So these are some of the. So the first DT is drone tech. Right? The drone tech is actually where we use drone to do the data capture, do the AI on the drone to do the detections and all that. So the benefit of the first DT is that for our customers, it becomes an immediate deployment for them. If a large enterprise want to do a drone program, you need to buy your drone, you need to train, you need to have a pilot, you need to train them, you need to of course, a CAPEX, but then you need to maintain those drones. You don't have a program on how to manage it. And I've seen so many examples of people going in and try to do this, and the failure rate is very, very high. So we become an outsourcing company. People come to us, it's immediate deployment, zero CAPEX, zero hassle. They don't have to worry about maintenance of those drones, maintaining the people, managing the team that are running this as well. And in many cases, we deliver immediate value for our customers. So what you can see on the screen are some of our operations. And the second DT is actually the data technology. And this is actually what I'm most proud of as well. Because, and then we are running on AWS for 90% of them.
Thank you.
So yeah, so I mean, on the bottom left-hand corner is actually our end-to-end asset management system for wind turbine blade. We were quite surprised there was no such solutions around in the world. So when we developed this, it was perhaps not the first of its kind. Today it's being used in Europe, it's being used in America, in Japan, in Latin America, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, at Aerodyne, we actually perhaps 7 or 8 startups within a startup, because each of these vertical or solutions that we do is actually worthy of being a startup by itself. The top right-hand corner, this is actually the COVID-19 solutions that we developed during the first MCO. So once we completed this development, it has now been used in various other countries as well. So I was quite happy we developed this just over 3 months. It now became the base stack for our future development as well. So yeah, it's a very exciting thing. The one at the bottom is actually our power line solution, and on the top left-hand corner is our agricultural solution. And this is just an example of perhaps another 20 different data things that we worked on. We do things as predictive analytics. We do basically an end-to-end data platform that also integrates with the existing ERP and so on and so forth. So this is the data tech. And lastly is actually the digital transformation. And this is where we deliver those 2 solutions that we had before and allow our customer to have significant value creation for themselves. You know, if you were to look at power line solutions, which is one of our biggest vertical right now globally, 20% cost saving is actually massive for our customer. You know, and we did that by accelerating the process by more than 400%, and so on and so forth. I mean, I don't want to have to go into details, but most of the work that we do actually allow us to deliver solutions that is faster, better, cheaper, and safer as well for our customers. So that's a summary of what we do, and we have come to the end of my presentation as well. So I'm happy to take more questions.
Thank you so much, Kamarul. We have a few interesting questions for you. We'll kick it off with one from Dr. Hanafia. Dr. Hanafia, would you like to ask that? I'm not sure if it's coming on, but his question to you is, do you think field robotics can add value to your drone solutions?
Oh, no, definitely. Actually, in fact, we take drones as a robotic solutions as well, right? It's just aerial robotics. You know, moving forward, drones are not really what people think drones used to be. Right? I mean, it's not just a dumb flying machine to go up and fly and capture data. We're already working on the next generation drones as well. You know, nested drone, swarm tech, collaborative swarm technology. So those are robotics. So ground robots, perhaps what Dr. Hanafia is working on, is something can be definitely complementary to what we do as well.
Some questions have been answered along the way, so I'll skip them. But we have one from Deep. Would you like to ask that?
It's just to get some idea. How I mean, when you say the cost reduces for the customers, what kind of cost we are talking about? You can take any example. Say I have a 1 palm oil farm or whatever. I want to do some deployment. I'm wondering what kind of cost is it? Say if I want to hire you, okay, I want you to do this. What kind of cost we are looking at? Some
Right.
idea. I know it depends.
Sure. Let me just take an example for managing the power line, for example, right? I mean, power line, critical infrastructure for any country. So the old days, how this is being done is either by helicopters or it's being done by people walking the line. Of course, by truck, then they walk the line and they do inspections by them manually. So this is actually a very time-consuming process. It is a very dangerous thing as well. And drone were able to disrupt it by doing it so much faster. I mean, and it's not just for power lines. The same thing for telco tower as well. We are doing tens of thousands. We have done quite a bit, but we have on the pipeline tens of thousands of telco towers to be inspected around the world. And each telco towers will take 1 to 3 days to inspect, and we can do 3 in a day as well using our system. So not only it's safer, it's also much faster as well. So those are the cost saving, because if you do it faster and you use the analytics, when you use AI, in some cases we use machine learning as well to actually process those data as well. For example, right now we are working on cognitive point cloud, where you do a scan of a tower, telco tower, for example. The traditional method is that somebody will go out and climb these towers and do inspection. They go one by one, they inspect them, and then they check, they do the measurement, what is the angle of them doing this and so on, right? So it will take them 1 to 2 days to complete one tower to inspect. So in our case, all that we need is actually to send our drone less than 1 hour. It will just fly up and then do the scan. And then using AI, we will be able to find the fault as well, you know. So, and also we use point cloud to capture the 3D model, to capture the assets. Then we automatically create a 3D model using point cloud. Now, traditionally, point clouds are really just a measurement of those assets. What we have done now is actually making it smart data. So when we do the scanning, the data itself is aware that, hey, I'm a telco tower. On myself, you know, on my tower, on my members, I have 23 antennas, for example. And these are the measurements, because it will measure by itself. Because if you, through object recognition, it will come up with all of this information. In the past, this is something that is being done manually. So you would have to have an engineer doing this, you know, and then somebody would then analyze this and putting it into a report. So not so far from now, I would say less than 6 months from now, we would have a system where our drone would fly up, capture all of this data without intervention from an engineer to analyze all of this data. The self-aware point cloud will do all the analysis, and it will get all the full report, all the full analysis within a couple of minutes. So that is actually major disruption to the industry. So when you do this part, when you automate this, you save a lot of time. And it's a lot safer as well than having people climbing up the tower.
Do we have any more questions from the floor? So while we wait for questions, I have one for you. Okay, we've got a question that just came in. So Afiq asks, can you give us an example of a time when you solved an analytically difficult problem?
All right, sure. Let's take, for example, wind turbine. Right? So wind turbine, a failure on the blades can be catastrophic. Right? So what we need to do was actually to be able to predict when those blades will fail. So how do we then do the prediction? It's actually by capturing data over time. There are many different types of failures on those blades and various different types of severity for all the various different defects that can be on the blade itself. Over time, when we have significant enough data, then we can actually predict when those blades can or will fail, and then have them fixed or have them replaced way in advance as well. So that's actually one example. Another example is actually a problem statement that was given to us in Australia. This is a cattle farm in Australia, our client as well, where the problem statement over there is that the output from the farm has been dwindling over time. And the problem statement that was given to us is that, hey, find out why. They've been studying this over 10 years and they couldn't understand. From the surface of it, everything looks honky-dory, everything looks fine, right? So we actually use very sophisticated hyperspectral cameras to do studies over 18 months. And in the end, we find out that those cattle were not eating well enough because it doesn't like foreign grass, not the local grass. And it's not something that you can see with your naked eye, But we use hyperspectral cameras, and through very analytical methods to actually be able to identify those various different species by just flying the hyperspectral cameras, and then come up with a method to actually solve this. And then at the same time as well, when you run a farm, it's about having the right number of animals and the right number of grass that's available in your farm. So then we have to come up with an algorithm as well to make sure that the results are actually what they want. So those are some of the recent solutions that we've been working on.
Rasid Masum, would you like to ask the question directly?
I'm reading it. I'm reading this.
Okay.
The question is about nested drone, self-charging drone. Actually, that's not a new thing. We already had it for more than a year. We've been testing it. We've been running it. Just last week, we were running our drone in the UK, which is 10,000 kilometers away. We were flying them from our office in the KL. So the good thing is that this is actually indeed the future. And the question from Rasid Masum was whether this is issues with batteries. But actually, nested drone is not about solving battery issues. So the future of drones, and this is this is a spoiler, right? I mean, I had a lot of parents comes to me say, hey, where do I send my son so that he can be a drone pilot? So I'm going to tell you guys, please do not plan to send anybody to become drone pilot. 3-4 years from now, there's not going to be. It's already a dying profession. There's not going to be drone pilot needed in the future. All drones in the future are going to be autonomous, smart drones. In the nested environment, because that's the only way when we can actually harness the full benefit of the technology. It's not by having people going down and start flying the drone. Drones are going to be nested. Drones are going to be on site. Drones are going to be collaboratively, which is the question from Dr. Hanafia here earlier. Those drones are going to be collaboratively working together to optimize whatever missions that we give it to those drones.
One more question from Deep.
Kamarul, this is about the sales. How do you do sales? I'll give you some scenario, because I think we are having in the same boat, but of course we do different things. Your solutions are not standard solutions where you are buying Apple or whatever. So you have to think how to solve that problem or whatever, and which makes it difficult. What we do is we do customized software. So it's not so easy for us to market and tell what we can actually do for you. So do you create all these use cases and then your salespeople will go and try to sell it to the potential customers? Or how does the whole sales process happen when the things are not really clearly, here is one apple or one orange kind of thing? How does the whole sales process works?
You are hitting it right on the dot there, actually. In the past, what we did was actually develop customized solution for a single customer to start with. Very often and not, these single customers are very big customers as well. So we get carried away with actually solving specific problem for these particular customers. In the beginning, this is a nice thing. You get yourself a very nice supporter, big corporate clients that give you nice fat revenue and all that. But at the end of the day, it's actually a very dangerous thing because you are relying on one big customer, right? So the good thing about what we have done with that is that we developed one core technology that can be, or rather core solutions that can be used for another company of the same industry. So for example, when we develop telco solutions in Malaysia, we can use these for other telco companies in other regions as well. So when we develop a solution for the power company in Malaysia, we can actually deliver the same solution for other power company around the world as well. So the first 1 year, it was very nice. We were developing various different verticals. And each of those verticals, we were able to sell them to the other countries as well. Because apparently the problem statement are all the same for all of these infrastructure companies, right? The problem for us, so the sales or rather the business development side was pretty simple for us, because having track record working for one power company actually carry a lot of credibility. When you go and talk to another power company in another region, immediately their eyes open up and say, hey, this is what we wanted as well. So it was quite a straightforward thing for us. But what we found later, and this is not a sales question, or rather a sales issue, what we found out later is that when we keep chasing functionality for a single customer, that's actually a very dangerous thing. So what we have done subsequently was take a few steps back. We actually relook at our development strategy. So now we have now embarked, and we are only about halfway now into a stage where we have a unified platform, unified data platform for all various use cases. So all that we needed to do was only the data layer, the solution layer on the top. So everything else is the same. So that actually solves a lot of the issues that we used to face. So your question earlier is how do we do it? Fortunately, in our case, it's actually when we do for one company in one region, it's actually pretty much the same problem statement. But moving forward, that is not our strategy anymore. Our strategy is about focusing more on the SaaS solution that can easily be adaptable to various different requirements. So when we develop an AI layer or analytics layer that can also be used for various unique requirements as well.
We are over time, but we're going to have one last question here from Farizul. But I'll expand on that question. So it's also been on my mind about the future of drones. No, I don't actually see drones flying around everywhere. Usually in the background. I'm just wondering, in terms of the drone economy, in terms of the future of drones, when are we going to see drones? Like in our daily lives?
Yeah, I would say it's about 3 to 5 years away. I mean, the adoption are there. The industry is growing by more than 50% year in, year out. Of course, COVID is probably setting us back by 1 year. I mean, us as in the industry, but in terms of application, the technology is also ready. Why we have not really seen it in wider use is also because of regulatory constraint. Drone delivery, for example, is ready. You can already disrupt logistics by using drone for delivery. Either the final mile or whether very long distance. The technology itself is ready. But what people are figuring out right now is actually how to solve public acceptance, how to make sure that this operation is done in the most in a safer manner and all that, right? And then in terms of drones for infrastructure, as I mentioned earlier as well, the usage has actually becoming very, very significant now. But it's already transitioning into the nested collaborative swarm technology as well. That will become a reality, I would say, approximately 2 years from now. There are already pockets of trials, but when people do that, to be honest with you, it's almost illegal right now because the regulations that we have today does not allow for autonomous drone. Whenever we fly today, we must have a ground pilot that are operating those drones. So the constraint really that we have today is regulatory. Fortunately, in Malaysia, we have a very supportive regulators. The current regulators are very supportive. The Ministry of Science and Technology are also pushing for this. Our peers in Japan, for example, will not be testing drone delivery in an urban environment until 2022. But in Malaysia, we could be doing this testing by end of this year. So that's something good that come out of Malaysia. So it's the drone economy is for real. You talk about air mobility. Air mobility will not become mainstream until end of the decade. But by 2030, the days of the Jetson could be here for us as well. The technology is already here as well. So it's just taking its time to be accepted by the public.
That's really amazing. This has been a wonderful session. Thank you so much, Kamarul. Before we head off, I would like to invite a few of our other illustrious members onto the screen. You could turn on your videos. We have Ng Ka Sin of Magic. We have Liu Tianzhen of Gobi Partners, Aaron Sama of Scale Up, and Nadra Fauzi of Tresco to be on video as well. We have a session after this for the breakout session, a speed dating for those who are involved. Do stay on. We will be breaking you out into those rooms. And yeah, if you can come onto video, the persons I mentioned, that would be great. So, so people know who you are. Yeah, or if not, we can actually jump straight ahead. But before we go off, any last words from you, Kamarul, to all the startup founders here?
Actually, I don't know what you guys do, but keep going, never give up. You have chosen this. There's going to be a lot of problems along the way, but just keep going, keep hustling.
Thank you so much, Kamarul.